Um, Everyone, I'm Vaidi. I'm the founder of Practice Now. It's an e-commerce application for Zoom yoga teachers. Um, uh, and I'm with Vikas here, the founder of Pancha Yoga. Vikas probably doesn't need much of an introduction to most of you. Um, the objective of this session is is for Vikas and me to kind of share our perspectives and stories from uh, how each of us has grown our own brands so far. Um, and without further ado, I will pass it on to Vikas to get us started. So, Vikas, uh, you've been teaching for 15 years, correct?
Teaching for 10, practicing for 16.
Practicing for 16. Um, and the Pancha Yoga brand has grown significantly over the last few years, if I'm correct. Last 3, 4 years is when you've seen meteoric
It's
growth.
of about 5 years since I started Panch Yoga as a full-time yoga teacher, and yes,
So I think you've seen meteoric growth in Pancha Yoga over the last since you've started, right? It's been you've been growing year on year by leaps and bounds. So I think it'll be great if we can just jump in with both feet and hear your story of how we've gotten this far. So it seems like it's overnight success. We all know it is not. So please do tell us how you've what are the secrets behind your success so far.
okay. Uh, Thank you, Vaidi, for inviting me for this session to share whatever has been my experience so that we could help the potential teachers to create, grow, and scale their brands and touch more lives. There's no secret. It's very evident. I'm very passionate about what I do. My main idea is to touch as many lives as possible, create role models, inspire in as many ways as possible. While the passion keeps you going, I firmly believe it should be heart and mind together working. You cannot do everything with your heart alone. My education, I'm a software engineer from NID Surathkal. So one of the two key principles that I firmly believe from software engineering is reuse and automation. Because you got to look at ways in which you save time. And the more time you save, the more time you have, the more time you can do many more things. And let's look at it. When I started off, uh, my the let's look. Okay, I'll come to a point. Teachers over here, you would agree with me that if you are taking 4 hours of classes, another 6 to 8 hours will go into administration, accounting, and all that uh, kind of operation work that is needed for you to sustain your classes. So when I started with a few students down, you will always, I mean, I had a book in which I would write down, okay, this person joined today, paid this month, they paid this month, and so on. You see, extreme manual effort. A simple thing that I always believe is leverage technology. Whatever you're doing on a regular basis, automate it, reuse whatever can be done. Don't spend time reinventing the wheel. If something can is already there, use it because you save time. The time can be used for self practice. That time can be utilized for learning something new. The time can be utilized for growth. The time can be utilized to invest with family and so on. Because if your operational time is going higher and higher, all the other things will come down. And after a point of time, the burnout effect happens. You just feel I just need a break, nothing is happening, and so on. So, simplest technology that I would use earlier is from the book, etc. Sometimes book is lost, you're lost. You have to keep that book, this thing. From there, moved into a Google Sheet. you can never lose it because it's all cloud based this thing, or you can catch Google and say where's my data and so on. So that made things easy. You can apply so many different formulas for you to understand which batch is doing well, where you need to invest time and so on. And that's how I started the whole this thing. And even now my principle is, okay, I go through the day and see that where most of my time is going, and I'll then look at what can I do to get the whole thing automated, or something that work can be reduced, so that time is always greater than money. 500 rupees with you, I keep telling my students this, or 500 rupees with me, it's the same value. We can go to the supermarket, we may probably buy different things, but you can at max buy things worth 500 rupees. I can also buy things worth 500 rupees. But 1 hour, your 1 hour and my 1 hour are different. Why all that? Your 1 hour in the early morning and your 1 hour late in the evening are different for you yourself, right? Time is something which is completely context specific. The more and more we are able to save time, I think it makes it easier for you to grow and scale your entire organization, or whether you want to call it as a business or as your yoga teaching careers.
Great, great. Yeah, I think the secret, if you will, over here is basically the fact that the way that you value your time is I think that's the significant difference in what has gotten you so far. Can you tell us? So the you spoke about automation. Like in what areas of your business have you applied it? So you have saved time. So you mentioned spreadsheets, and you briefly spoke about what you were using spreadsheets for. If you could talk about both with respect to let's say marketing, related automation, like how you would, if at all you did use tech for that, technology for that in some way, how did that happen? And then from an operational standpoint, how did you apply that? That would be maybe we can that'll be perhaps useful.
So for once I got full time into yoga, I would say my most of the time I love teaching. But apart from teaching, a lot of things which is happening on a daily basis, there are inquiries coming in that you again answer. You need to invest time on social media to create your social media presence, because your next student is somewhere out there where you don't know, they don't know you, you don't know them. The only way they get to know you is how you present yourself on your social media. Time goes into creating the Zoom link, share it to the appropriate group, manage the group, someone joining, add them to the group, someone leaving, remove them from the group, and so on. So I did think of me coming up with a software myself, since I am from the software industry, and I had I can say probably I still have good coding skills. Sit and do it, but then I felt this would be reinventing the wheel. Yes, it would probably take me 3 to 6 months of time to get this thing done. But even Google Sheet, I thought could be automated and handled. But then I felt, okay, instead of that, taking 6 months of my time and again learning some part of software, integrating and testing and all those things, there are definitely solutions, because this is not just my problem. I'm very sure all teachers go through this kind of situation. If there is a solution available, I think we should just read rather than this one. I came across multiple such solutions, but I think what made me use practice now is this. When this is again a very important point that I would like to tell all teachers on this one. Uh, People are always interested in solutions. People are not fascinated by the features a product has. When someone joins a yoga class, they are actually, most of the time, they are actually looking for a particular asana or a set of asanas, or deepen their practice and so on. You join not to just be on the mat. What that does to you is what you're actually looking for. When we buy a bed, you are actually buying a good night's sleep. It's not just a bed. So I realized most of them that I interacted with, they spoke so much about their features that it was less like bouncers. So when I spoke to you and your team, you spoke of the solution that I was looking for. And I am again a firm believer of start something, you can always constantly improvise. If you wait for I will start from a house only when the signal is green, you will never start. You will always be at home. You start, you will face few obstacles, few red signals, but continue the journey, and that's always better than staying at home. And that's where the whole thing, we started using Practice Now in March. It was not exactly like how we were looking for at that point of time, and but something good is, just like as human beings we keep evolving continuously. I like the fact that Practice Now was ready to evolve itself to all the requirements that we had, especially the important requirements, like a student can do multiple things at the same time. Like he can join an advanced class, he can join a pranayama class, and with that kind of features and the request being addressed sooner. Now it has made life so easy. It's like no longer do I have to sit. The last few days, couple of days of a month used to be a nightmare, and the first 2 days, because I would hardly sleep. People would like, sometimes I don't know, from different time zone they would like pay at 2 a.m. in the this thing and expect a link overnight, and this one. So managing things, sometimes people transfer, but they don't let you know that they have done the transfer. And later on, when you check the statement, you just cannot correlate who transferred, etc. It's like you have to go to Google Pay, check the history, and then try to find out. At least now with Practice Now, there's a proper invoice or an email that you get. You know that this person has registered, and you don't have to worry about giving any kind of access or sharing link. It's all now automatic. So I would say about 80 to 90% of my time has been greatly saved. That now I used to watch IPL. IPL is no longer, again, September it will come in. I can play with my children. I can utilize it for my extra practice, learn something new, probably watch a movie. So you don't have to cut down on your entertainment time to save time now. You can make your entire process more efficient, that you have more time, that you can choose what you want to do. And that's the thing that Practice Now has helped me with. I'm sure there are other solutions, but my key point is look at ways in which things can be automated and delegated to that, then you're free.
So Vikas, thank you so much for that, amazing testimonial. I was kind of thinking we might get to that a little bit later, but you kind of started the whole thing with a bang. So I very much appreciate it. Thank you very much. I think so maybe we can start. We can also maybe take a slight detour. And you had mentioned that you had a few questions that were asked by some folks before that they wanted you to answer, right? So one of them was like if they wanted to if a teacher wants to they've started teaching and they want to grow their brand, at what point should they register a company name or a brand name? At what point should they set up an Instagram page? Like, when is it too early to do that? I think is the question that one of the questions that we had gotten.
Okay. So from my thing, when I started teaching, there was no brand or brand name. You just start teaching first. You start touching lives. Once the student base grows, that's when you start realizing that it's like this. If you go to an apartment and teach, okay, people will relate to you as, oh, we have a yoga teacher coming to our apartment. So you will not be known by a name or a brand. But you will make money, you will touch lives, but you will not be creating an identity for yourself. But that's the point. When you have sufficient student base, I think you should start investing into a place where you can teach and call it by a brand name. That's when people will now start recognizing you by your name as well as the brand name. Starting it right at day one is not a good idea. I think we should take some time to develop the experience of teaching, to especially teach different kinds of people, different kinds of body, because no matter what kind of certification you have done, it's only when you're on the job that you gain that final confidence, when you have actually met a lot of different people. And once people start liking your classes and growing through your classes is when you should start getting into a brand. But the moment now you decide that you're going to invest on a place, because the moment you think of a brand, remember there are additional expenses that are coming in. If you simply go and teach at a place and come back, even if you do revenue sharing, there's no expense. You only have a travel, you only have your time. But the moment you think of a place, rents comes in, the operational cost starts coming in, which you're not very clear of. So I took that approach. First started teaching, then group classes at some place, personal classes somewhere else. When I felt I had a sufficient student base, I had the confidence that even if you take up a place, if it doesn't click, also I should be still be able to manage. While I don't say that. Like think negative all the time. I am saying mentally at least once you should be prepared for the worst and expect and work for the best, so that you are psychologically also ready, and as well as going and giving your heart out into what you're going to do. At that point of time is when you start investing on your social media presence, and you start creating content pages and so on.
Great. I just wanted to say one thing. So we have another question as well. But I guess for all the teachers here who have joined, thank you very much. You could either put in your questions directly in the chat, or you could just unmute yourself and ask the question. There's an interactive session, so please do make the best of it. We have some more time, and we'll be glad to answer any questions that you have. So feel free to just jump in and ask your question.
There was one question that had come in, which is how do I grow my brand without getting into Insta page or a Facebook page and so on. See, the thing that we need to understand is the power of multiplication. So what social media does is your presence will be created to a much larger audience. And it's like this, even if I'm very, very good, you can never outperform the power of systems and processes. So even a bad process and system will always outperform a very good individual, because individual is always governed by emotions, individual is always governed by moods, individual is always governed by circumstances which are not always ideal. Whereas systems and processes are independent of all these things. The moment certain things are system, you are free from it. The systems will start taking over that whole thing. Same way, if you want to grow without social media presence, it has to be through word of mouth, which is it works, but it takes a lot of time for that growth to happen. So are we willing to wait? Are we patient enough to wait that long that it happens only through word of mouth, or we go through the old ways where you create newspaper pamphlets and then distribute? Again, you have a limitation of the geographical area. But with social media, you can have a student who is somewhere else. And now I'm sure with the pandemic, now we all have students that we are still not met, which otherwise before the pandemic was not possible, unless you had started the online classes even before the pandemic. I was one of the few lucky ones who had started for reasons that if a student is traveling somewhere, they wanted to still do the classes. That's where we had done online classes. But online presence had grown through the social media thing itself. My first online student that I did not know is Simran from Himachal Pradesh. I still don't know how. I just want to say what social media can do for you. She saw my page, said that I want to practice with you, and then was my first online student. My first workshop outside of Hyderabad or even Bangalore happened at Surat. Again, it's purely through online presence. It's Dr. Payal, who has a Pilates studio in Surat. I just don't know her. She didn't know me. sure, just through social media presence, this was done. So I would rather put it this way to answer that question, that without putting you don't have to spend money on ads, etc., for you to grow your social media presence, but we can be smart enough, or we can always seek help of certain individuals who will help us grow that social media presence, organically grow, because now with an online world, uh, your next student can be anywhere. You can't say that it is only in the 3 to 5 kilometer radius anymore.
Absolutely. Actually, I just want to add something here. So even for practice now, it's been actually quite amazing. Which is the power of social networks. Like the kind of I think it was Archimedes, who basically said, "Give me a liver long enough, and I'll lift the world." Right. So it's like I think the just the reach that we have, and it's not just our own networks, right? So we have a very small follower base right now, which is less than even 200. We've just gotten started with social media, but just the fact that we have people like Vikas and other teachers in our network, who like our product, just by requesting them to kind of share it, we've already started growing our customer base, fairly significantly. So but of course, we do need to kind of take the initiative to kind of put out something that is share worthy. But I think once we do that, for every hour of investment that we put in, the kind of value that we get is like pretty tremendous. So I personally agree with you. I think it's really us to kind of determine how to use social media. We don't need to do what everybody else does. We can have our own voice out there. We can show our generosity. We can put out content that is useful, while at the same time also talk about ourselves and bring in a nice combo. We have a question from Kushbu. How to start connecting with people and start teaching in a very new place like out of India. I'm relocating and clueless how to start teaching.
Okay. First things first. I'll answer this way. 2007, my first teaching experience actually happened in 2007. I was actually teaching my cricket teammates. We used to do the warm up and cool down together, and anyone has injuries like physio, we used to do yoga stretches. But when I'd been to China, I'd been to the gym over there. While everybody were busy using equipments, I was doing some show off and doing headstands and all those things. And suddenly I had though I did not teach commercially over there, I had a few Chinese students straight over saying that I also want to learn this, I want to do that, and all that. So the answer is, people should know that you are a teacher and you are someone who can help them accomplish their goals. So that presence has to be formed. Either go to a nearby park and practice, whether you want to call it a show off or a practice. I leave that terminology to you. Practice in your maybe balcony, wherever it's possible for few people to notice. Always start off with a smaller circle, nearby neighbors, etc. Whether you teach commercially or not, it's completely a personal choice. Whether my point is commercially or not does not matter. First point is, I am going to make a difference to them. I am trying to help them get better. When this happens, money will automatically follow. Then they'll start coming and saying that I want to do this particular posture, or I want to lose weight, or I have this particular health issue, and so on. And then once they start seeing you as that subject matter expert, in whatever, up to whatever level that you are comfortable with, the thing will grow. If you're in an apartment, there will always be a place where practice can be done. Figure out the governing laws, that if you can teach commercially, what are the things that has to be done. We'll have to be careful on that. You don't want to get into water and then figure out that it's too deep and all that. One leg in water, one leg safety. Once you have done that part of homework, yes, you are ready to teach in a new place. This I'm speaking of physical classes. I think for online wherever you are, it's just your presence. I think that should help you. But since you said I'm relocating, I'm assuming this question is about taking a physical class. Physical class, people should know that you are capable of helping them. For that, they should see you practice in some platform. Make that happen. Happily practice.
Thank you, sir.
Any other
We have
question?
another question from Tanisha. What to do if students find sessions expensive?
Okay. The answer to that, Tanisha, is no matter what the fee is, students will always, at least new students will always find it expensive, and they'll always ask for discount or try to bargain. Even if you say your class is free, they'll still ask for some discount. Okay. So be prepared. The reason is people will always think, what else could I do with that money? That's the basic thought process that goes in anybody's mind. Even if you say, whether you say fee is 1,000 or 10,000, they'll always think, what else could I do with that time and money? Okay. So somewhere, and money is never a major issue for people to actually buy in or not. This might look this thing, oh no, no, etc. But the fact is, once people are emotionally connected to the goal and believe that you will be able to help them, money does not become a bottleneck anymore. Somewhere, that's why when people talk to me and they straight away ask what's the fee and all those things, I don't entertain, because for me, first I am a teacher, then a businessman. I am more interested in what are your goals. Am I in a position to help you or not? And this is the channel that I want to go ahead with. Once, see, you won't go to a doctor and say that what's your fee. You'll always go to a doctor and first talk what is your problem, and then only the final fee this thing comes, right? Same thing over here. Once we start talking on the goals and you're able to give them certain things, I think that will bring down the resistance that they have with respect to money. After that, also, if they find it expensive, always lead them to, because you want to help them. That's the primary thing. Lead them to some other teacher who can take class at that particular amount. That's it. There is no question of I am losing a student or I am losing someone. We don't own anyone. We have control over no one. Everybody is free to execute their choices. We got to respect it. When they come, you have to say welcome and look at what can I do to help them achieve their goals. If they are going happily and gracefully, let them leave. You should always focus on who's available at that point of time and the difference that you can make. This thing will always be there. There will always be, whatever fee structure you keep, there will always be someone who will always find it expensive. You cannot outgrow it. Find a pricing that you feel comfortable for whatever you are offering, with your experience, with your knowledge, with the amount of practice you do, and never equate your personal practice for money. They never make that mistake saying that, oh, instead of doing 1 hour of practice, if I take one more hour of class, I learn X. Temporarily, it will look like you're gaining, but in the long run, it's a big fall. Never compromise on your self practice time. And never say that, okay, anyways, when I'm teaching with them, I'm also doing that practice. That is not called a practice. When you practice, you shouldn't even be talking. You should be completely absorbed in what we're doing. When you're teaching, only you go to show what has to be done, but your major focus should be on the students, whether they're doing it right or not. I'm actually mixing another question that had come in about self-practice. I just connecting this with the expensive question on expensive fee structure. Just never make this mistake of, oh, I will do practice with them and my practice is taken care. It will always live short term. Long term growth gets killed with that particular attitude.
So we have one more question. I think we'll just circle back to that. It's about online and offline sessions. So one of the ideas that we had, because when we wanted to do the session, was to also kind of focus on the tech aspect of your business, right, and how to scale. And we kind of started with that. And I would like to kind of also circle back to that a little bit. So you did mention, what I would like to kind of do is to kind of ask a few things with respect to your like. So you were doing a bunch of things manually, like, so the different options that actually your teacher has, in terms of saving time and scaling their business, right? They can use. You mentioned, pen and paper, and then spreadsheets, and then now you're using practice now. The the at what point, should somebody actually go from, let's say, using something like Google Sheets, which can take you quite far, to something that is actually like a hosted system, that is paid, right? So, what, in your opinion, is the right time frame to do that? It'll probably vary from person to person, but I think, this is something that, because many of the customers that I speak with, they basically say, look, it's too early for me, to invest in something like this, and I can't but agree with them, because they know their they know their business better. But I thought, from the perspective of where you're coming from, right? It'll be good to kind of get your thoughts on that.
Okay. So there are two questions over here. One is the online versus offline, and one is the when do we start investing in processes and systems. Okay, so I'll start with online, offline, and then come to the processes. If you ask me personally, what do I enjoy more, doing a class in person or an online? Definitely in person. The energy is always different. Those of you who have been to a class, you know that energy is different. Sometimes you might be a little low, but by the end of the class, you get energized. Group up, at least at Panch Yoga, this happened. Group appreciates one another, students appreciate, they help. So you start and you inspire one another without even speaking anything. Because when you have known that person's journey, when you look at them doing or something, you feel probably I'll take it light, and then you are no, let me give my best. Hands-on adjustment is much better, and people start accomplishing their goals much faster. Given the current circumstances, the next best option that we have is an online. This is better than not doing anything. So, but how do we balance? What I have done, again, you got to leverage and invest on technology. This is where I'm slowly coming to the second part. I have invested in a big screen, a big TV, LED TV, so that I can mirror what's happening in my laptop over there. I can still walk around people who are there and still have an eye on people who are online. This way, we'll be able to balance to a certain extent. Is this the best thing? Now think of someone who is beyond that geographical boundary and wants to do a class at that point of time, and they know about you and they want to practice with you. That's their best approach. Okay, so it helps them. And there are people who have traveled and come down to practice in your physical presence. You are still helping them, and so on. So when it comes to now leveraging technology, and first, yes, start off with free solutions that are available, simple things. Even if it can save you 10, 20, 30, 40% of your time, you are still, it is worth it, as long as you start off with free and you understand that with automation and reuse, you are beginning to save time. But free solutions always come to only one extent. Beyond it, we got to be willing to make that investment. You always have to look at when you do it. It's again a personal choice, because see, with respect to money, a major mistake we do is we think a lot in terms of conservation. Oh, let me save. Let me save. Oh, why will I invest 1,000 rupees on this? Let me save. With conservation, what happens? The problem is, what would have got over today with conservation, it will get over maybe tomorrow or day after tomorrow. It will not permanently be with you. But with investment thought process, basically it's a different mindset altogether. You no longer start looking at that as an expense. You start looking at it as an investment. When I was first doing my yoga class, my first yoga class 16 years ago, my teacher said, invest on buying fruits and eating them on a daily basis and a lot of things. I was like, why will you buy an apple and it's like expensive? And at that point of time, I just started my career where entire thing is save, 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 save. With saving, I realized you will just have it a little longer, but it will eventually diminish. The moment I started saying that, okay, let me invest and make money work for me rather than me working for money. I'll still keep working for money, but a part of the money that I have, if I can make it work, I realize suddenly the possibilities are unlimited. So when it comes to money, think NX. If I invest X, how do I get N times out of it? N is greater than 2. So the moment you start getting into this, your own class does not become an expense anymore. You start looking at it as an investment. And I can say example from my own life. When I quit and got full time into yoga, I did not have savings. Whatever savings I had to put it off in a home loan because I did not plan that particular thing better. I'll not get into those details. But it's like I started with a savings of 4 lakhs and suddenly I had to clear a home loan of 9, so I had to borrow money of 5 lakhs. So I am starting with minus 5 lakhs. It's like that. Just 2 months of practice, November and December, and I felt if I want to create that mark or create that identities, because I didn't want to get full time only to just make a difference and earn money. These are two things, but also wanted to create that name for myself. So I felt I should go back to my teacher Bharat sir and practice further, and that again need whatever money I had, I invested it on the fees. And that month I did not have money to pay the rent. This is when I just started off. What did I do? Did I borrow again? No. Systems, I just put a message: those of you are taking an annual offer today get an additional 500 rupees off. 3 students took it: uh, Ravi, Shashank, and Satish. I still remember Satish was the first one who did it. Immediately, I had that money to pay the rent, and then went to Mysore. My wife was upset, saying that one entire month of no income and you're further making another. For her, it was an expense of paying the fees. I said, you will not understand what I want to accomplish. This investment is necessary. But after that, when I came back, there was no looking back because the advanced classes started picking up. So again, if you want to create a brand, you at some point of time got to start looking at also helping other teachers. Only working at a beginner level or maximum till intermediate level is, it will help you grow to a certain extent only. When you start helping a lot more teachers, the way people look at you will be very, very different. For that, we again come back. You got to invest time on your self practice. The more and more you self practice and deepen your practice, that's why the deeper the roots, the higher are the shoots, right? So the higher is going to be your growth. So when it comes, never again be very logical and methodical about the investment that you make. Even if you're doing a 10 rupee investment, first start looking at it as an investment. Money is the second this thing, because even if it's 10 rupee but you start looking at it as an expense, long term this kind of thing will not help. The moment you start looking at it as an investment and you always look at how do I get NX out of it, over a period of time there is going to be exponential growth. But we have to be patient long enough. Nothing happens overnight. We need to give it that particular time. But put that money off and think you earn that less. That's it. Start doing it. It will start giving you the returns.
No, thanks, Vikas. We have a question here. How is the Zoom link created on Practice Now? So it's actually completely automatic, Divya. It's all done behind the scenes by the system. So, for example, when you click on the button, the free button to join this particular meeting, uh, the creation of the button itself was kind of automatic. All I did was I just went in the backend and said that I wanted to I want to schedule a class. So yeah, so it's automatic. It's automatically shared with students as well. So we're kind of starting to run out of time. We have about another 6 minutes. What I would like to do is to use the time to also just share a little bit about Practice Now and what and for those in the audience who are keen to try it out. I'm putting a link up here. We will I've put up a link up here. Please do register there if you would like to. So we're running a there's a significant discount that we're currently running for the first 75 customers. So we are on a fairly significant up curve in terms of getting more customers on board. So we have about 9 spots left, and I one of the things I wanted to do was to for those who are attending this particular session, to kind of give you a chance to do a free trial with us for 2 weeks. So you get the full product during those 2 weeks, and you can then determine whether you would like to um, be uh, yeah, if you'd like to join, then yes, please do let me know. And um, we have limited spots, like I mentioned. So please do make the best of it. The a couple of one or two other things I would like to add, because uh, with respect to with respect to our platform, right? One of the reasons why we actually built this was to uh, I wanted to kind of connect to the story that you mentioned, which is your engineering background, and the fact that you have the coding skills to kind of you would have had the skills to kind of build something like this, right? I was kind of I'm actually coming from a different direction, which is basically the fact that that for those teachers who don't have those coding skills, how can we actually create software for them, that would help them have access to a really good software that would make their lives easy. And the fact that you've become a customer, is a fantastic thing. The in I was one of the things which I wanted to which kind of also was a little frustrating for me is, there's a large enterprise, which has set up many franchisees, around India, or centers around India for teaching yoga, among so many other physical exercises and other things. And they have their own. They've raised lots of money, hundreds of millions of dollars, and they have their own software, they have their own app and everything. My one of the reasons I started Practice Now was to kind of see what we can do to kind of democratize access to technology, right? Just one a large, you shouldn't have to raise hundreds of millions of dollars to have access to good software these days. And even a teacher who has just started out, as long as they have a few, let's say 5-10 students, being able to provide something that will make their lives easier. It may not have all the features of something that that a big company has created, but sufficient to give them a good looking website, something that actually makes them look professional in terms of students, go at least going like half the way, or three-fourths of the way, if not all the way. And that's I so we so the that's how the vision of supporting independent yoga teachers kind of started taking root. And so we're a big fan of supporting teachers to kind of grow with access to with affordable access to technology. So that's something I just wanted to kind of add. The we're almost so there's one would like to know more. So there's a question right now. Would like to know more features and pricing plans for monthly, yearly. Yes. So we're running a 40% discount right now. It's an up to 40%. So at the highest discount, we're starting at about 750 rupees. For up to 10 students. So the pricing plan kind of is elastic. It increases or decreases based on the number of students that you have. Please do fill up the form, and I will get in touch with you, Vijay. Thanks for your question. So. Um, so it's we're almost at closing time. There is another question from do we need to wait for word of mouth initially while starting newly? How to show yourself as a good teacher for them, irrespective of showing tough asanas? So do we have time for this one
Yeah.
additional
We will not send anyone with incomplete cycles. You don't have to necessarily do tough asanas all the time, Sneha, to show that you are a good teacher. This is again a thing that think of it at any point of time. There is always someone that we can learn from, and there is always going to be someone that we can help. So with that mindset, you don't have to do tough fasteners all the time. You don't have to be a PhD to teach a kindergarten. No, it's just something like that. The more consistent we are at what we are doing, is where people start coming in more than the tough fasteners that we do. Tough asanas will slowly start helping get more and more experienced practitioners, but that's a second this thing. Right now, if you want to help a beginner, or think of it this way: if you are a beginner, whom would you want to go and seek help from? You see someone who is practicing regularly. First time you practice, one show off will not be enough, but you see someone practicing regularly is when you go and then do it. Yes, when you do a slightly more complicated practice, they automatically understand that you are someone who's been doing it for quite a long time. So that helps, but that's not the main criteria for someone to grow. And again, coming back from where we started in terms of automating or using technology, think of it before WhatsApp came in. If you had to communicate, SMS was the way. How do we send SMS to so many people? Like, can you realize WhatsApp, one group, one message, we are done, it has saved us time. Something, do we have to invest on that? No, if you have a smartphone, you have WhatsApp. That's it. We are not investing anything on additional software, but we are beginning to leverage or use that technology and software, right? Same way, first is that mindset that rather than going by doing everything by old ways where we are willing to move to something new. I was extremely reluctant to get into Instagram. I was a Facebook guy. I think people of my age group are the Facebook generation. Ramya was the one who kept on saying, "Sir, Facebook is for old people. You should use Instagram. That is what new people," and couldn't understand what Instagram is. But I would say my next level of scaling has happened through Instagram presence. And now it's like you do on Instagram, automatically it comes on Facebook. Now that technology also is there. So again, I may not know all the things, but there are always people at different point of time who have that relevant expertise or knowledge. There is no shame in going and asking them for solutions or guidance or help. That does not make us any less or them any more. Nobody is self-made. All of them have all the time helped one another, and that's how we have, as a humanity, we have evolved, right? So always, I would say, feel comfortable to seek advice or seek guidance from whomever you feel in your circles, but grow, because the only thing that we have to remember is our time is very limited. I am again so grateful to Santanam, who was the first one who told me about Practice Now. I took about 6 months time to finally move to Practice Now, which is again a different story. At some other time, we will discuss on that. But now I feel, I should have probably gone 6 months back. But now there's no controls that in life. But I'm fine. I'm glad that I took that leap of faith and went into, because whenever we try to use a new technology, more than again the pricing or etc., we have other questions that bog us. I was wondering, like, my students are so far used to one way of doing the class. How is the Practice Now experience going to help them? And I realized actually the experience is better, because even if you look at today's class, there was no Zoom link. It's just chat.practicenow.us and click, and you are there. So everything is kind of what is not necessarily embedded, because with Zoom link, sometimes if people are attending on tablet, then they say, "Oh, I cannot do." There are things that have happened, but with this, no such thing. Whether you are on laptop, tablet, or mobile, one click, you're in. There is no chance of making a mistake of, "Oh, I missed a passcode," or any such thing. Everything is completely encapsulated, if I have to use a software terminology. It made it easy. Then my other question was, from the student point of view, they only have to click register one time with the email and this thing, which is needed for authentication and authorization. They do the payments, again safe. So invoices are generated. So everything is kind of legalized, and the accounting is taken care. The bookkeeping is done. You just click, you are in. So we got to leverage, and then I was like, oh, I already have a student base. What if students leave because of this? No, actually, more students joined after that, and this is because people like things which are easy, and this is not like some rocket science. All that they have to do is just log in with their credentials for whatever classes they have access to, that will show up as join. Click join at the right time. That's it. Finally, what they were doing earlier only is being done. Just that the way in which it is being done is now all taken care in a much more thing. It's like an automatic vehicle. Earlier, manually, you had to do a lot of things. Now it's all power steering and everything. All the things, the system, the engine is taking care. We just got to leverage technology. How will I migrate so much? I have a huge student base. How will I migrate? I had that question. Again, they had a solution. Just give us the data in an Excel sheet. Give. They did some magic. Everybody is automatically migrated. So when you have that kind of support also available, I think even if you have 10 students, maintaining 10 students, remember 10 can easily become 20, 25, 50. It is just a matter of time. Once it becomes 50, then you say, I want to start the using technology. It gets harder. Beginning itself, you start doing it at a very low investment. I think it's going to save a lot of time. Is there any other question that I have not answered? Don't worry about the time. I am right now this week on vacation, so all your questions I can take it up now, unless Vaidhi has some other appointment.
I've made a lot of time for this meeting as well. Thanks everyone for
few things to share.
Santanam wants to say some stuff. Santanam? Santa, can you hear us?
There is. You got to unmute, Santa.
Santa, you got to unmute.
Okay, he's setting up his Bluetooth.
Okay.
Okay, meanwhile, if anyone else has any question that we can take up at the end of the class.
Perfect. Am I audible now?
Yes, you're audible. There's one question that's come in. I'll read the question right now and then give this thing to Santana. At the end, I'll answer this question. But the question is, what do you do about group classes or personal students when you want to go for an intensive to Mysore? I'll come to that. Interesting question. Santanu.
Yeah, clear, right? Audible?
Yes.
Yes.
You can sing
Hi,
a song.
Vaidhi. Hi, Vikas. Hi, Janaki.
Audible.
So many of you here, and there is Chandra Prakash also. There is Ramya also. So many of you known faces. Hi. I've been teaching for like 12 plus years. So 4 years with someone, and then 7 years, like few years as freelancer, and running a company for like 6 plus years. So by this software, just been at the right time, because I have done everything that is to be done, like Excel sheet maintaining, taking a list of things like whom to call, what comment, date, spoken, everything that we all do as yoga teachers, everything I've done. Okay. And then I know how it can suck the time away where you don't want to do few things and you end up doing few other things. So I've tried everything and all that. And in fact, before even Vaidhi came to me, I was actively looking for CRM solutions because I've been a software engineer before, worked specifically on CRM, right? It's coming through clearly, voice, everybody?
We can hear you okay.
Perfect. Sorry about that. So I've done all this. And the problem is either the software is pretty decent, but the team is pretty not good. They don't understand. They don't speak the same language. They speak the same language. The sales team is different, and the actual team is different. These are the other problem I've noticed. Or the software stops working after a while. Like it doesn't grow. And when when Vaidhi came to me with this solution, I said I'm immediately taking it because I've done enough to know all the things I've hit upon. So this is something I would definitely, recommend, like for all you to just don't even think twice. You'll take it and you'll just fall in love with the team. I can definitely say that for sure, because I've been like really annoying customer for them many, many times. I would be like really straightforward and say, hey, listen, this isn't there, that isn't there. And last year when he came to me with this, before that I even tried another online solution. There is another one I've even spoken about. There is nothing that works as butter smooth as this. Some of my students are also keen. How did you make this, happen and all that? Yeah. So in case I don't know if this gives a little word of confidence about it. What really inspires me, definitely, Vikas is in the same lines of Vikas is, there is no dearth of students and yoga teachers, and everybody has potential to grow. There's just a few, very less population in the planet is doing, and with the online world, there is so many have so many people need it, and you can reach to so many people, and there is zero competition, right? Everybody has a unique thing. Vikas has a different strength. Someone else has different strength. I even Chandra Prakash has different strengths. So we all have different strengths. And this helps in reaching out to the entire planet. I don't know. Maybe there was another question which was there in terms of. I don't want to hijack and take those questions, but if I may say one or two words about it, what I would say is about the pricing point. Is it okay, Vikas or Vaidi? Can I just go ahead and answer it?
Go on.
Pricing point. Yeah. So pricing point is you first convince yourself that you're pricing it well. If you're convinced now, every word that comes from you will have its weightage, have its energy. You be convinced. If you're not able to convince others, somewhere you're feeling that you're overpriced, right? So make sure you go back and see how much value you're giving in whichever format you are. And then you ask yourself if you deserve it. Then your words and all will speak, and it will have its stage. And whatever you decide, there is no particular thing as this is the price, that is the price. Who sets it? Who's the standard, right? It's all about value exchange. So once you're convinced about it, once you're clear, you are very confident about it, I'm telling you, everything falls in place about the price and all. You charge whatever you want to charge. It will work. Yeah, that's it. I hope it was not an interruption to you guys' conversational flow. I hope it added value for everybody. I will give it over to Vikas and Vaidi.
I just wanted to thank Santa for being so generous with that comment. It's a this is what this particular meeting is about. It's just an invitation to everyone, an interactive chat, between Vikas and me. Our goal was to kind of just, be the catalyst of conversation. So thanks a lot, Santa, for jumping in and sharing your thoughts.
There were a few more things that Vaidi and I were discussing to share, which is when you want to grow your brand, what are the things that we love to focus from the marketing point of view, from the finances or the legal point of view. But that part we thought probably we'll have another session, maybe a month down the line. There are certain things to look at it from the spiritual angle. We did not touch up, we probably just touched upon it in terms of the right kind of thought process to sustain, or thought process that you cultivate in the mind in terms of taking a class. But today I wanted to keep it very simple in terms of reducing your operations cost, in terms of making your whole process more efficient by leveraging technology, reusing what is already being done. Don't reinvent the wheel, automate whatever can be automated, and so on. Coming to Nicole's question, what do you do about group classes or personal classes when you want to go to intensive to Mysore? I don't do personal classes anymore. That's another thing, some other conversation that I'll say. When you want to grow, after a point of time from the personal classes, you need to move into group classes once you have a sufficient student. The reason for it is this: with the same time, you will be able to help a lot more people and potentially earn more. So from the personal classes is good when you are starting off your teaching career, because it gives you the confidence of actually helping someone. And once you start doing, let's say, 3 or 4 different personal classes, different kinds of bodies, different issues, you get that confidence. Then you realize that this is again the concept of multiplication. Rather than helping 4 people in 4 hours, I can actually help the same 4 people in an hour. You save time. Anything that you can do to save time is what the priority has to be. But this is after having taken sufficient experience and investing sufficient time in helping. So what do I do about my group classes? If there is any of my students who are also teachers available to do the class, I hand it over to them. Again, earlier now, I want, last month, not last month, July, this month I wasn't here. July 1st to 21st, I was in Mysore for advanced sadhana and I was just come back. And for July classes, I had my student Sakshi, who's also India Yoga teacher, do the classes. Now, if practice now wasn't there, now think of the whole logistics. I have to create a separate group. Whoever is interested need to pay to her or me. We have to maintain one common Google Sheet, update all the things and so on. Now things are so simple because all that I had to do was create those classes on practice now, which is anyways you will have to create a Zoom this one. Create a teacher, Sakshi, assign the classes to her, and that's it. Classes were happening. I hardly had access to my phone, only about 90 minutes in a day. I didn't even have to log in and see what's happening. I was still not logged in and saw like what has happened and so on. Done. Anything, let's remember, as long as anything is person dependent, right, we become the bottleneck. The moment from the person dependent, we come out of it and make it system dependent, you see you're free to do anything. Okay, the order it goes like this. First, you always got to design. That's where the maximum time has to go in. And after that, what has to be delegated has to be delegated. What has to be dropped has to be dropped. Whatever is left is what you have to do. That only you'll have to focus on. So rather than doing everything, once the design has been done, that's where we use the mind. You use your intelligence. What has to be delegated, delegate it, trust them, trust it through a process, trust the person. What has to be dropped? A lot of things that we do that is may not be necessary to be done at all. Drop it completely from your this thing, and what you finally is left is what has to be done. That only you need to be doing it. Focus only on that. That is where you can actually grow. Growth happens when we start valuing the time that we have. So
Great. Yes, and probably if you can also add a note about the whole freezing thing that we did for subscriptions, of students who are already.
Follow-up thing to that is okay. People would have already paid for the month of July and beyond if they have taken a 3-month subscription, 6 months, and so on. What do we do? Practice Now also has this feature of freeze, so all their investments are safe. It just gets postponed by a month. Now, August 2nd, the Monday when we start the classes, it will automatically restart that whole thing, which otherwise you see would have been extremely cumbersome and manual effort would have been needed.
Thanks a lot, because I just wanted to, just say one last thing. Like when you said that, we need to reach out for help, right? And not try to do everything ourselves. That actually got me reminded of a couple of things. So, like I started practicing yoga about 6.5 years ago, and it's transformed my life like it has for so many other millions of practitioners around the world. But for me, I after some time I decided that this is where I want to be involved in some way. A teacher is a big stretch for me, but then I thought, if at least I can combine my tech skills along with something, and find some way to kind of be involved in the yoga community. I thought it would be something which is quite rewarding. And having come this many years now, this being a part of a meeting like this, itself is something that makes me really, really happy. To come back to the point I was trying to say earlier, about helping, asking for help, right? So this particular meeting is largely, it's actually because of, I think today, I don't even remember whether it's, Vikas who actually ended up suggesting this particular meeting, or it was me who asked him. I don't recollect that. But what I do know is that two things, right? One thing is that Vikas makes it very easy for people to ask for help. So even if it was me who would have asked that, I wouldn't be surprised. But second thing is this whole thing is largely, largely a result of me just reaching out and getting not just for this particular thing, many other things that Vikas has done for me. So it is, I can personally say that just asking for help to grow, is a very fruitful thing. And we may be hesitant in the beginning to do that, but I think if we ask 10 people, even if 3 or 4 of them are actually ready to help, right? I think we don't have to worry about the remaining 6. I think with the four people who said yes, I think we can build some wonderful relationships. And so I'm extremely happy, thankful to Vikas for making this particular event happen. It's the first of many for Practice Now, and I'm really looking forward to many more events along with Pancha Yoga and Vikas. I just wanted to also add, like, if you could, you can DM us on Insta at practicenow.us if you have any questions about the features of the product. I think somebody had asked for that. I would be more than ready to kind of chat with you directly. But that's the only thing I wanted to say. So, if you have any other final words before we close, I think we can do that.
I am a firm believer of life is all about peaceful progress and not stressful success. So while we need to keep progressing, but it has to be peaceful. So anything that helps you grow peacefully, by all means, you should just hold on to that particular path. Anytime you have any question, it can be an asana related, or you want to grow in your practice, or you want to shift careers and get into yoga as a full-time career, or you're already a teacher and you want to scale. I am just a message, a call away. I will do whatever I can to help. This whole thing is, I have personally realized there was a time when I lost my father, and there were so many people who came and helped without asking for, and I realized what it means and we all have it within us to help. Someone falls down, you won't just look at them, you will just go and help them come up, and especially if it's a road accident, right? So that's our, I think, spiritual need, the need to be useful to others. Okay. And somewhere I had this thing last month on a Sunday. We had a session like this where anybody could come in and ask any kind of questions, and would be there. This is where, when I discussed this, is where actually Vaidi brought out this thing of, can we do something together and help potentially. The main audience over here were helping teachers scale. So that's where the technology and the experience came hand in hand this time. But I am planning to have a session like this probably once a month on a Sunday, where people can come in. It need not be only for yoga. It can be anyone, any kind of question that you have. If I have the answers, I'll definitely try to help. So there are, I don't know what's the time, but thanks a lot. Very informative. Get in touch soon, definitely. Okay, so anything that begins has to end. So I'm sure many teachers might be having classes now on. So thanks to Vaidi and his entire team who have been over here. I'm actually looking at all of them for the first time today. Okay, because the tech support system of Practice Now is so smooth. Anytime there's a bug, I'm not saying that there are no bugs. There are, every software will have a bug, but you say there's a bug, within some time they are back saying that it's fixed, and they also tell what was the reason and how it happened and so on. They're very humble. So makes you realize that everything, finally it's all people. We connect with people, and technology was created to help us with that. So as I end, I say this: I love you all so much. Till we meet again.
Thank you so much. Thank you.